A woman should be who and what she wants. We support the multifaceted woman. The woman embracing many titles, undertaking different ventures, and building generational wealth. You are a Jackie of all trades, master of your empire. Enterprise Empress, you are an unstoppable force. Welcome back, Empresses, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of today's Jackie. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sharon.
I'm Neidy Hornsby.
And we have a special guest for this evening, the hairstylist and owner of a Little Off the Top hair studio, Sharra Spann. Welcome, Sharra.
Hey guys, I'm Sharra. So nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Sharra, how does it feel to now be back on the show? Before we were like live in your studio, right, Neidy? We were like, we did the show with, what show was it?
It was the show with Latoya.
That's right, in cosmology.
Yeah.
Yes, which was so much fun. So much fun. It's so
I
crazy.
think that was our first like a non-studio show, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Yes, it was.
Right. Sharra, you've gone through every transition with us. We went from filming inside the studio to filming actually in the community in your shop to now being virtual.
I'm honored. Seriously, thank you for having me.
Now, did you guys hear the good news about Latoya's story up in cosmology?
I just heard that. That is such a big deal.
Listen, when I saw that, no, I literally screamed.
Maybe you have to tell the news.
So she is the recipient of the $100,000 grant, the Shea Moisture grant, on so many levels, right? Because I can only imagine how many companies applied for that, and to come out on top, and to the fact that we know her, it makes it so much cooler.
Yeah, the next Black Millionaire Fellowship, and they're fully into the Target stores now as well. And it's not only her, but it's two sisters.
Yeah.
So in total, it's three of them that are co-founders. And we are going to be interviewing our featured guest is also a co-founder with three sister duos. That's why we call this the Today's Jackie Show, because we interview women who are Jackie of all trades, master of their empire. These are multifaceted women from the community who are undertaking many ventures, building generational wealth, and wearing many titles. And we have another co-founder with a sister duo as our featured today Jackie, Angelica Sweeting. Welcome.
Hi guys, I'm so excited, and it's an honor to be a guest on your show. So thank you again. I can't wait to dive into all things My Mellow Magic and entrepreneurship. So thank you guys.
Angelica, you're not as excited as we are. I can tell you that we each have our own reason, like why we want to talk to you. So I'm really excited for the show.
Awesome. Let's dive in. Let's get into it.
Now, Sharra, as a hairstylist, we really wanted you to be our co-host today with My Mellow Magic doll company, because this doll is actually unique in a sense that it has interchangeable hairstyles.
Of course. No, when I heard about this, I was like, what? I remember you telling me at the last show we did. But, just as a hairstylist and entrepreneur myself, a Black doll with interchangeable hair, the style in all kind of ways. I know my niece would love that. But first, just tell us the many titles that make you Jackie of all trades, master.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. So first, I'm an entrepreneur. It's in my bones. My great grandmother was an entrepreneur, and my grandfather was an entrepreneur. And I'm a co-founder along with my three beautiful daughters of My Mellow Magic. Together, we created Melly. And Melly is the name of our doll, and she is the very first 18-inch doll with interchangeable hair, which is really exciting. And along with that, and having that title, Melly being the first of its kind also makes me a history maker. I will be the first Black woman in the toy industry with a utility patent, which is huge.
Yes.
Huge, like not a design patent, but an actual like utility patent. we're so excited about that. Along with that, I'm a mom. I'm blessed to be a stay-at-home mom, but I will say it's much easier to go to work if anyone's considering
Listen.
It's much easier to just
much
go to work.
I feel that.
So I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm also a wife. My husband and I, Jason, will be celebrating 11 years of marriage in 2 days.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a journey, but that's my babe. We've been together for 15 years, married for 11. And then, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, and I'm also an investor and a giver. My husband set the tone when we were dating. We had 2 cars, guys. We had 2 cars. We were a normal couple, and we were at church, and there was an older lady that was a grandmother, and she had 6 or 7 grandkids, but they would walk everywhere. And it really touched my husband's heart. And we ended up giving one of our cars to this lady. And it was such a huge sacrifice. And for like the next 6 or 7 years of our marriage and our relationship, we only had 1 car. But it's just something we love to do. We love to give and we love to sacrifice. And, God has really been blessing us in my husband's business. So we're able to do it a little more, freer now. But that's just who we are. Like we met maybe a couple weeks ago at church. We happened to see them at a restaurant afterwards. They were telling us that they were closing on a home. And my husband was like, call us, and we paid for their dinner, and they called us and we made their first mortgage payment. And we just,
Angelica.
Yes, So, we love to invest in people. We're givers. Like God has done so much for us. Like it would be wrong for us to not sow into other people, not just, into their business, but really into their lives as well. So I'm a giver. I'm an investor.
It reminds me of that verse, to whom much is given, much is required. And I think that you're living by that, which is beautiful.
Yeah. So those are my titles, y'all. Those are my main titles.
But you say like it's nothing. Like
Right. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Like,
right.
This, and yeah, that was it.
Oh my gosh.
There's just, there's always so much more we want to accomplish. And I have to get better at pausing at, the present and what we're doing. But yeah, I'm
always coming.
Always.
So listen, I'm just going to jump in on the heels of all those beautiful titles, because I think that, Sharon will tell you, our producers will tell you, I never miss an opportunity to ask this question. It's my favorite question of all the guests, right? I'm always super curious about how women navigate that intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship. That's the hood right there, right? So I always want to know, like, you're in it. Entrepreneur, mom of 3, what does that look like? What does that feel like? Because it seems like entrepreneurship is something that is a theme that runs in your family. You're being very intentional about giving that to your daughters, but all the things that deal with that. How do you not lose yourself? How are you able to build a real business in the midst of all of these competing interests? So I love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm gonna keep it 100. It's tough, especially because I do international business. So I'm sleep by 7:30 because I have to work from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then I have to get up and get the girls going. So I go to bed really early, and it's nice because the girls can work with me, so I can bring them in on like, hey, I got mommy has to make a call. You guys listen in, or what do you guys think about this? Or give me your opinion on that. So for me, I think it might be a little easier because I can bring my kids in on the journey as I'm going and they're learning. And my husband's also an entrepreneur. So we're both home. And he does really, really great at making sure, make sure mommy has her quiet time so she can work and get it done. But there are other times where I have to be like, hey, y'all, I need to work, like I've cooked.
How old are they?
They're 11, 9, and 5.
Okay.
They're all S's, right? There's
all S's. Sophia, Sydney, and Sunday.
And they're all your co-founders too with the company.
They are, and they love it. They're really a part of the reason why I'm back doing dolls. And especially my youngest daughter, she is such a girly girl, and she loves dolls, loves toys. And she was like, Mommy, you know, she wasn't around when Naturally Perfect was around. So she's really enthusiastic of just about, you know, being on the journey and making dolls with me. So it's really cool.
So why dolls? Like how did that become the road, and how does one even get into that industry?
And before you answer that, I did want to say, you mentioned that you do a lot of international work. And when we were doing the research for this interview, I saw that there aren't manufacturing companies in the USA for dolls. There's only one place that does it in Indiana. And outside of that, all dolls are made outside of the USA. And I was like, oh my God, which makes sense, but you would think by now it will be something. So I just thought about that with going into the doll industry, how complex that is.
No, it can get very complicated. And it's just, you know, it's cheaper to produce over there. It's just really about vetting the manufacturers properly and making sure that they're safe for kids and all of that. But, you know, getting into the doll industry was strange for me. You know, like I always envisioned myself as this, you know, entrepreneur, and I didn't know what I was going to be doing, but I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. But it actually started because my oldest daughter at the age of 5, she came from book fair one day and she was like, Mommy, I don't feel beautiful. I don't look like the dolls and the characters that I see in books and magazines. Like, I don't have long blonde hair or blue eyes. And my husband and I searched high and low for a doll that would authentically look like her and have our features, and we couldn't find anything. So that's how we got to our first toy company, which was the Angelica doll and Naturally Perfect. So that's how we got into the toy industry.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what inspired you to create the doll line.
Yes, but this reiteration of our toy company, I'm really excited about, and really God inspired me, y'all, for real. Like I never thought I would be doing this again.
Hello.
Like, never, because when I had my like post Shark Tank, you know, it was really.
Hold on, but can you give us that you're about to answer, I think is very important, but can you give the viewers some context when you say I never thought I'd do this again? Why is that?
Okay, so, you know, with our first toy company in the Angelica doll, we launched on Kickstarter. We raised $85,000 within like 24 hours. We went viral. I was being interviewed, you know, like it was one of the best case scenarios you want when launching a product. And we auditioned for Shark Tank. We got on it. And we got into a bad deal. You know, we got into a bad deal. I was a young entrepreneur, made, you know, some big mistakes, and we ended up having to shut down the company in 2017, like the same year Shark Tank premiered. And we were on track to have our first $1 million year. So it was really, really heartbreaking to me because you sacrifice so much and put so much into business and your heart and soul and emotions and
identity
into it. And I failed, you know, and a lot of entrepreneurs fail. And it was heartbreaking for me. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. Like, I don't care what anyone says, I'm never doing this again. And God just like stayed on my neck. I was like, no, you know, like I'm never doing this again. And here we are.
The audacity of you to think that you govern your steps.
Right, exactly.
That part too.
Right.
That part too.
How old were you when you started the initial business?
Yeah. Oh, that was 2015. Oh gosh, y'all help me with some numbers. That was 8 years ago. I was 26.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was 26, 27.
Wow. And this is how many years later that you're going to be launching this month, right? You'll be
launching at the end of this month, 5 years later, 5 years post Shark Tank.
Wow. What have you learned? Like if you could give a tip for anyone starting a business, specifically in the doll company business, what would you say was your greatest lesson learned?
I think the biggest thing is just to not be so naive. You know, not everybody is there for your best interest.
Yes.
And it was a hard lesson I learned with Shark Tank and the partner that we had. But looking back, like I have to respect it. Like he's a businessman at the end of the day. Like I have to respect it. Like you have to do what's best for you and your money. And even though I got the short end of the stick, like I can't be mad at it. Like you did what was best for you. So just not being naive and also knowing that you're gonna make mistakes. And we internalize mistakes and failures so much.
Listen, and women more so, I think, right? That's why I said identity, because as I'm hearing your story, I can see how any one of us would have internalized that as somehow an extension of me when it was just a moment in time.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest lessons. Like, you know, we put our hearts and our souls in this, but we're going to make mistakes, but it's okay. And things aren't life or death. You just keep persevering and you get through it, you know, like don't put so much into it. That's one of the biggest things that I've taken from it.
Yeah, it's all about the process. And sometimes we're focused on, you know, the beginning and the ideal and the end result. But we forget that this is a process, this is a journey. There is beauty in failure, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned to be even greater the next time than you were that time. So it's like embrace those journeys and those processes that you have to go through. Man, I'm just really proud of you, because this doll is just like even greater, right? Because you had one concept with the first doll, and since then, even your mindset has evolved in what you feel is a great representation of a Black represented doll, correct?
Correct. That is, man, I'm so happy. Like I went through everything I went through, if it lands me where I am now, because I'm, you know, so much more anchored in who I am in my business and the things that I can accomplish. And, you know, God was all up and through it. And when he told me like, hey, you're going to relaunch, I'm like, with the same doll? Like so many people have like copied it or done it. And, you know, in the next couple of months, I just kept praying. And he was like, well, you need to figure out how to switch the wigs, you know, because no one's ever done that before. And he just kept giving it to me like in little pieces. And I was working with a patent attorney that specializes in toys, and he used to work for Mattel. And we were going back and forth on email, and he was like, you can do it, but you're not going to get a utility patent. It'll just be like for strategy. And I just sat on it and kept sitting on it, and it came. And I kind of like makeshift did it at home and bought the stuff that I needed. And I sent a picture to our patent attorney, and he was like, this is it. Like, we can work with this. Like, let me start on the drawings. And, you know, he called me.
You're a whole engineer. You didn't mention that in the beginning.
Oh yeah, as a title. That's right.
Yeah. So, you know, just getting it done, being creative, being innovative. Like I'm so used to bootstrapping, like, let me just go to Michael's, let me go to Hobby Lobby, let me sew, let me put it together. And after I did it myself, then I went to a manufacturer, of course, and got the sample made and things like that. But yeah.
I love the word that you used. I actually just jotted it down when you said that you're anchored, because I think it paints such a beautiful word picture. When you think of an anchor, you think of, you know, something that's holding you steady in the midst of the storm and the waves, but you're centered, right? So as you're preparing to relaunch, to be anchored is probably the best way to describe where you're at, right? Because the storms are going to come. Like that is just, there's no way around that. But when you're anchored, it changes the way you view and react to things.
Exactly. And with my first experience, I was kind of just like going with the wave and, you know, just like customers can be really, we know how customers can be. We all know how customers can be.
Yes. Sharra was like, say less.
Say less. And the doll industry is really intense, but intense because there's so many people that collect dolls over years and years and years and years. And they're very particular, these older ladies. And my first Angelica doll I made and delivered didn't have any underwear. I don't know. I just didn't think to put underwear on the doll, you know? And I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll just fix it the next time. But it was like a thing. It became like a thing on the internet that I delivered dolls without underwear, and people were cursing me out. People were like, I can't believe you would do that. And I was just like, it can become so overwhelming. So I believe when you're anchored, you know, you can kind of just take a step back, you know, and be like, hey, we're gonna fix this, chill out, you know, like it's not life or death, like, you know, and just be able to handle different scenarios in a less emotional way. So that for me is what I need as I move forward.
Oh, wow. So we have so much we want to talk to you about, but before we get into more questions, we want to play a game. We want to see how well not only you, but our co-hosts know their doll trivia. Were y'all like big doll fans when you were kids? No.
It really was.
You love Sharra. Sharra might win this game.
I would get in trouble
dolls,
for cutting
but I wasn't like, you know, like overly into them, but I played with them. Sure. I used to sue them all the time.
Used to sue them.
But I wasn't like a collector.
Well, then let's give Neidy. Well, she wasn't a collector. So let's start with you, Angelica, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Name 3 types of dolls.
3 types of dolls?
Not brand, types. They're different types of dolls.
Sizes? Are we getting into the fabric? Like what, you know, there's so many different.
So that's hard without me giving you the answer. So there are different dolls, not the brand. So you might have some that are soft. They might be called something else. Some that are, so like, what are 3 types of dolls?
So there's plush dolls. There's plastic dolls. I'm trying to think of like technical names for them. There's the really bendable joints dolls. They're called BDJs.
So you have your engineer hat on. So let's see if Sharra, someone that doesn't have an engineer hat, you like those a little deeper than what I was thinking.
High tech, yeah.
Yeah, like, well, you named 3 types of dolls that you had, not the brand, but the style of doll.
I would say baby doll.
Yes.
Like, Barbie.
Smart. Barbie's a brand, but that is called a fashion doll.
Right. Cabbage Patch doll?
Yes.
Doll?
Those are Cabbage Patch considered baby dolls or?
Yeah, I would put them in baby doll categories.
That's a tough question.
Name a third one. One more. Y'all got them. Come on, think of it.
You said plush. A teddy bear isn't a doll, right?
No, but a puppet is. It's considered one.
A puppet?
Yes, so there's porcelain dolls, there's baby dolls, there's fashion dolls, there's rag doll.
Rag
dolls.
Yeah. Action figures, China dolls.
Action figures, China dolls. Okay.
I was thinking too deep. I was too deep.
Look,
yeah, you got too granular.
Oh, engineer hat on. You are ready for this launch. You will not forget those panties this time.
Will not.
Okay, so what doll brand is the most popular doll in the Western world?
Barbie.
Neidy was just like, I'm taking this one.
Yeah, Barbie. Because that's all you're going to get from me.
Okay, what is the most successful doll company?
Mattel.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this one is a deep one. This is more of our Black history. Name the living legend and Spartanburg woman who designed Mattel's first Black Barbie and changed the face of the fashion doll world.
Her name is Stephanie. I think it starts with the S, right? No. Wait a minute. She designed the first Black Barbie.
And she couldn't afford a Barbie doll as a child and was a product of a segregated South, but turned out to call the shots on Barbie outfits for nearly 3 decades. And it's still
she's alive?
Today. She's still living to this day.
Oh, wow. I have no idea.
Her name is Kitty Black Perkins. Have you heard of her?
No.
I never heard of her to this.
Wow.
Can you believe that all of us, like most kids, play with dolls and no one knew? Like,
right.
I never heard of her either.
Right.
We need to do better, right? Not us as in us. I'm talking about like women in culture that not many people know that. The first Black fashion doll with African-American features was based on what film star and her TV role /show?
Oh.
What year?
So there was 3 years. It was broken down into, there was 1966, and then they had to come out with the doll again in 1968 and then 1969. And I'll explain it. And she was a Black film star, and it was her TV role. And her role in the show and the actual name of the show was the same.
Foxy Brown? I don't know.
That's a good guess.
Oh, that's a really good guess.
Think elder. TV stars back in the day. You guys know her too. I'll tell you more about it. Her character, her TV role in the show was called Julia. It was actually the third dark-skinned Barbie doll ever released. The first was Color Francie, aka Black Francie, in 1966, but she had Caucasian features and was made with brown plastic as opposed to pink. So it wasn't until the second doll, Christy, who is formerly known as the first now because her features were actually African-American features, and she was the full Barbie height. She was released in 1968 and had features that were based on the actress Diane Carroll. Diane Carroll, the African-American film star. So then Julia was the third one when they released it in 1969 and changed her name from Christy to the name of her role in Julia the movie.
Oh,
known as the Julia doll.
Wow.
That's really interesting.
I thought so too. And to see the differences, it's just like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, we're just gonna change your color, but you're still gonna look like this. Right? So Angelica, are you specific about that? Like really making sure you pay attention to some of the features with your dolls, or no? Yes, yeah. I figured that you were really intentional with that. So Angelica, name at least one Black doll company other than Naturally Perfect or the My Melly Magic doll.
Pretty Brown Girls.
Yes. Sharra, do you have one?
I do not.
I don't. This is toy is just not my area.
So Neidy, you have a little girl, so we have to remember these. We have the Positively Perfect dolls, the Black Panther, the Natural Girls United, the One World Doll Project, the Mia doll, My Brown doll, Pretty Brown Girls, Queens of Africa.
Mm-hmm. Right, okay. But I'm waiting for My Melly Magic though.
Yes.
Hey.
Now I have a trivia question. Which of the co-hosts on today was one of the models for the original Naturally Perfect photo shoot?
I know, so I can't say.
You?
Was it you, Neidy? Was it you, Sharra?
It wasn't me.
I was one of the models for Naturally Perfect.
I didn't know that.
Really? My nieces, we ordered that doll.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is so interesting.
That's when I had
like the doll was like made after you?
No, I was one of the models when they did the photo shoot with the doll.
Okay.
So she did a photo shoot with natural hair women to represent the doll that her first doll, Naturally Perfect, was based on having natural hair that you can wet and
nice.
Find your curls.
Wow,
oh, good.
Literally full circle.
Mm-hmm. And at that time I only wore naturally curly hair. Now I have braids and I do all the little interchangeable hairstyles. And it remember too long. How funny is that?
I remember your natural curly hair.
Okay, one more. Which female athlete recently got a doll in her honor?
I know this, but I'll let you guys have it.
They make them all the time. Serena Williams. I'm trying to think of the most recent.
You're in the right sport.
Naomi.
That's right.
Yeah.
Really? Osaka in July 2021. And which company launched it?
Barbie?
It had to be Mattel.
Mattel as a Barbie. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then we have to do one more for our behind the scenes producer. she was like, we have to do one on Cabbage Patch Kids. So in 1983, that's when I was born, Cabbage Patch Kids were introduced with great fanfare at the International Toy Fair in what city?
New York.
Yes, good. Good. So
clearly I lost.
I was excited to do the game so I wouldn't have to answer the questions because I was like,
yeah, those were tough questions. They were tough questions.
But you know what's so crazy? You never realize how nuanced like these industries are. Like if you're not in it, you're not paying attention to it. But these questions were really great.
Absolutely.
So based on all those questions, and even what we were talking about, the difference between your first doll, which focused on natural hair, versus this doll that has interchangeable hair, as well as they have different colors, right? Like you can, they have different colors. I want you to talk about that. And then I also want you to tell us, how do you think the My Melly Mela Magic doll will inspire society to just stop putting Black women in a box, you know, when it comes to their hair?
Right. So, you know, the first edition of our doll was about affirming little girls and their beauty because, you know, thus far they hadn't had a natural hair doll. So that was really important. But in hindsight, I realized that we were still putting little girls in a box. It was just kind of the box that we liked, right? Because we want little girls to accept themselves and to have natural hair, but we still weren't giving little girls a chance to just define beauty on their own terms. So we were saying, hey, you know, if you're a Black woman or a brown, you know, and little girl, you should be natural. And that's what beauty is. That's not what all beauty is. There's Black women with color hair. There's Black women with straight hair. There's Black women with brown hair, you know, all these varying type of Black women and what we do with their hair. And it's all beautiful. So for My Mela Magic, it was really important for us to give girls a choice to define beauty their own way, you know, however they want. If they want naturally curly hair, cool. If they want it pink, cool. If they want it purple, you know, whatever color. And as you guys know, in society right now, choice is so important for women. And it's so important for little girls at a young age to know that they have a choice, right? And for us, you know, as I'm watching my little girls grow, as they grow, so do I. Like they challenge me in the best way because I grew up with, you know, the strict Black mom with, no, you're only going to wear your hair like this. No, you can't wear half color. No, you know, like everything was so, and you had to be perfect and your hair always had to be done. And my kids challenge me on that constantly, even now, because, you know, I lay my edges and then my daughter's like, just leave them alone. They're fine. And I'm like, wait, you know, so it's just always a challenge. They're always opening just my brain and beliefs when it comes to beauty. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a study that says that by age 11, most young girls have lost control of their voice. So it was funny because my therapist mentioned it to me and I asked my daughter, I read the study and then the study was based on one question. When was the last time you wanted to say something and you didn't? And I asked my oldest daughter and she didn't respond. She just started crying. And I was like, oh my gosh, like my little girl has lost her voice, like just her ability to speak and like her authentic voice and to choose, because little girls are bombarded with so many different scenarios of what it means to be an ideal female. So the study says when little girls are presented with all these different images of what it means to be the ideal female, that they get confused. Like they don't know whether to be a good girl or a bad girl. When they speak up, maybe they get silenced or shut down or not respected or, you know, so they end up just shutting up. So it's so important to give girls the freedom to voice themselves through play at such a young age. I don't know if parents really understand the tools that they're putting in their daughters' or sons' hands with these toys, but it makes so much sense because I don't know if you guys have seen these dolls, maybe like Rainbow High dolls or Bratz dolls or these dolls with very exaggerated hips and breasts and
lips and eyes and
eyelashes and
So sexualized, if you ask me.
Very
So
very over sexualized. So we give these to our daughters, not realizing that we're defining beauty for them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not realizing that through play, they're getting all of these values and what they'll base their beauty on. We just think it's like a fun toy, but studies have shown that little girls really internalize the things that they play with and the dolls that they play with. And we're confused at age 11 when little girls are sad about their bodies or why they're not fitting in or why they don't look a certain way. It's because of so many societal norms and the toys that we give them. So for us and for My Mellow Magic, it's one about keeping girls loud. Like, we don't want little girls to lose their voice. We want to keep girls loud and yelling, and we don't want them to shut up. We want them to be able to talk back and to voice their opinion. And we do this through play at a very early age, so girls understand that they have the freedom to choose and to define their own beauty standards.
Wow.
I love that. I love that so much. So I think that speaks to the mission and the value system for the company. So definitely cannot wait for the official relaunch. I do want to spend a few minutes talking. So as you know, I am a trademark attorney, a business attorney. So I run in these spaces where I get to see entrepreneurs launch incredible ideas, but also be very strategic about the steps that they take to, as we like to say over here, like guard their genius. So I think that it's a multifaceted question for you, because as you already know, when we say intellectual property, there's different buckets within the concept of intellectual property. You have patents, you have trademarks, you have copyrights, and all of these things or legal vehicles protect different aspects of our intellectual property. Right. So with that context, right, could you just talk to us a little bit about, when you came up with this brainchild, like what steps did you take to legally safeguard your ideas, so on and so forth?
Right. So of course, the first thing is trademarking our brand name, going through that process, trademarking our doll's name, going through that process. And then once I realized that I had an idea that could be patented, my first step was to reach out to a patent lawyer, but one that was specific in my industry, had knowledge in my industry. That was really, really important, because there's so many details and intricacies in patents. I don't understand half of it. It gets really complicated. So getting a knowledgeable lawyer that could give me feedback and could give me strategy when it came to filing a patent, because even our patent attorney was like, well, we can file a patent and you can have a patent pending status. And you may not get it, but it will be strategic so you can get people off your back, so people won't, just be copycatting your idea. So that was really important. And then another aspect I have to take into consideration with manufacturers is that they all kind of know each other. So Melly is manufactured in 7 different places. So no one can connect the dots. Like, we have 3 different manufacturers for her hair, for her body, for our packaging, for outfits, because there's a lot of copycats. We've been copied before, and especially in China, like that's what they're looking for, to copycat. So for us, our manufacturing process is really, really important as well, outside of just filing a patent and trademarking.
Wait, so who put all those pieces together? So they do the head, they do the hair, they do the body, and then who puts it all together?
So we have one manufacturer that just does the doll body, but they have no idea about our utility and how we use the magnets in the wig. We have another manufacturer for that. So I have to kind of piece it together logistic wise, but they all can't know. Like, one manufacturer can't know everything.
So what's so interesting about what you're saying is that all I hear is like strategy, and all your moves, right? And one of the things that I always say is that it's really crucial for us to think strategically and long-term about what we're building. We often get really excited about our ideas and forget to like safeguard our moves, right? So congratulations, because you are a whole strategic boss behind the scene managing. I can't even imagine the logistics of all of that. And it's so funny that you said like you reached out to a patent attorney. I don't know what the conversation was yesterday with Sharon, where, you know, I think she asked me a patent question, or there was something with patents came up, and I'm like, I'm not a patent attorney, right? Like we all have our lanes. So, but that's something to think about, because the assumption is, oh, you are an IP attorney. Well, obviously you do patents. That's not the way that it works, right? Like, so to be able to make these decisions, like this, you know, this is my IP inventory. These are the things that I'm doing. Who are the key people that can walk me through the process of safeguarding all that is this brand? So I say that to say you clearly thought very thorough about what that looks like for your brand.
Yeah, I did, because as I mentioned earlier, we had a trademark for Naturally Perfect, and it was filed and it was clear, and we still got sued. And I tell people all the time, like, your IP is only as good as you can defend it.
Oh, okay. Can I borrow that? Because that's also your IP.
Of course. It's only as good as you can defend it. You can have all the IP, but you got to have money. You got to be able to pay these lawyer fees, these court fees.
Right.
When we got our cease and desist letter because of the trademark situation, our trademark lawyer was like, y'all got $250,000? I was like, nope. He was like, well, you should try to settle immediately, or you're just going to have to rebrand. And that's what we ended up doing. So yeah, like, I love IP, it's worth it, but I would recommend, like, if you have extra funds, like, put it aside, because you just never know when you're going to get into those types of situations where you need to defend your IP.
So really quick, just as a hairstylist, going back to the actual doll, when it comes to the hair, like, are you able to put heat on it? Can you put product? Is it human hair, synthetic hair? Tell us more about that.
Right. So we'll have different wigs at different price points. Weave is expensive, y'all.
Hello.
Weave is expensive, and it takes a full like 75 to 80 grams of hair on each doll wig, which is almost like a bundle of hair. So you guys could imagine buying a bundle of hair just for one wig. So we will offer one human hair wig that can be washed and styled, and you can put heat on it. And our other wigs, they're like a synthetic blend of human hair and synthetic hair. So it can be combed and brushed. It won't get tangled or matted quickly. And I've put hairspray on it, water. It does really well.
So awesome.
Yeah.
The different types. Wow. Do your daughters play with the doll like all day, just figuring out things and giving you ideas?
Listen, all day, especially my youngest one. She just loves snatching the little wig off the doll. I'd be like, listen. She just loves snatching it off, and it's really cool. I'm gonna show you guys real quick.
Good.
So
exclusive view.
Yeah, so of course this is Melly, but a lot of our samples are with influencers right now, like the samples that I have with the actual like changing of the wig. But this is what she looks like. But I have a sample with the wig. So she has like sparkly hair. I'm not gonna show y'all her face because she's a little cross-eyed. My manufacturer messed it up. But I just want to show you guys. So the magnets, there's magnets in the doll head, and then there's magnets in the wig. So the magnets are strong enough to not come off, right? But easy enough to just slide off.
Pop them off.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
So
there's one My Melly doll, but there's multiple hair wigs.
Right. So we have braids, we have curly hair, we have sparkly hair. This one has braids that I love.
Oh, I love that one. That is amazing. So if I buy the doll, then I can buy the hair separately. Is that how that?
Yeah, so when you buy the doll, it'll come with one wig already, and then you can just buy varying wigs. Yeah.
So it's actually a twist on what you did the first time. You had the natural hair, but you had different dolls with the one natural hair. Now you have one doll with a different hairstyles.
Right. One doll, limitless options.
Wow.
Oh,
and when
it.
Yes. So we launched July 31st. And we're really excited. A lot of people are excited. A lot of people on the email list. And it will be for pre-order for Christmas delivery, since it'll be our first production run. And you know, the craziness will begin. I'll be back in it. So I'm excited. But July 31st.
We're excited for you.
Thank you, ladies.
So Neidy, really quick, where can we find you and more of your, you know, genius tips?
I am at Guard Your Genius on Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah, after this show, I feel like everybody's gonna be like, Neidy,
right.
doing
What happened was.
right. They're gonna be sending you DMs.
Love it.
Well, thank you, Angelica, for being our guest tonight. And Sharra, we was just so elated to have you fill in as our guest co-host. Where can we find both of you?
I am personally at Jelly Sweeting on Instagram, but you can find My Melon Magic on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at My Melon Magic.
Awesome. And for me, Instagram, Facebook, Sharra Spann, and the salon will be under A Little Off the Top Hair Studio, Instagram and Facebook.
Do you take My Melodol appointments? Can girls bring in their dolls?
Listen, how cute, so funny.
How cute would
Like,
that
how
be?
would that be? Like, hello, have to collab on that. No, that would be.
No, yeah, I'm definitely gonna reach out to you, and we'll talk and figure something out for sure.
Perfect. No, that would be awesome.
Yay.
And so Sharon, where can everyone find the Enterprise Empress and view our episode that we did with LaToya and Cosmology?
Oh, that's right. I know they're doing big things. People want to know their history, right? So they're going to want to see this episode. They're going to want to see those sister duos. You can go to Enterprise Empress on all the platforms. But specifically, you guys like this show and subscribe to our YouTube so that you can be alerted when we have new episodes every month.
Sounds good.
Thank you, ladies. This was, as always, a great show.
It was. Thank you
for having me again.
Thank you, guys.
Always